I've been the guy trying to make him, stand up or say a complete sentence. I've been there with him through it many, many times.
In a jaw-dropping revelation, Corey Feldman, at 53, has bravely exposed a chilling truth about his late friend Corey Haim. This explosive confession promises to shatter the image of one of Hollywood's beloved stars and unveil a disturbing side of Haim's life. The rise of the Coreys. If you remember the 1980s Hollywood scene, two actors that will easily come to mind are Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. These two Coreys were not just friends, they were the teen movie's best friends back in the day. It is the story of friendship, success, and some of the most outstanding scenes in the movies. So let's go back to the basics. Corey Feldman started acting as a child actor in the early 1980s. He was that cute boy who appeared on TV series and advertisements and displayed his acting prowess. When he was in his teens, he was getting better and more challenging roles and was becoming quite popular. As for Corey Haim, he was not as popular as the first two until somewhat later. He began to stir the audiences with his performance in the movie Firstborn in the year 1984. Before he knew it, he was the in thing among the teenagers. Haim's appeal and natural acting style propelled him to stardom, and he soon attracted the attention of the major players in Hollywood. The Coreys were really on a roll when they teamed up for The Lost Boys in 1987. This film is considered to be one of the best, and it was here that the on-screen couple had the most chemistry. Vampires, rock music, and two teenage idols made the movie a must-see. It was not just a hit, it was the hit of the year and made them the teen idols of the 70s. But that was not the end of it. They went further to achieve more. They both worked together again in License to Drive in 1988. In this one, they portrayed two teenagers who just want to go out with their brand new driver's license. The movie was a comedy one, which contained the sort of actions and jokes typical for teenagers. That is why people liked it. Feldman and Haim grew up with the camera, and as the years passed, they were not only actors but the definition of the teen idols of their time. It was evident that they were good friends off-camera, and their on-camera banters were some of the best. The media always enjoyed their friendship, and went to the extent of portraying them as the best of friends who went to Hollywood. They had a youthful image which included both charm and vulnerability, thus making them easily identifiable with their fans. However, as it is often the case with young stars, their lives were not always as happy as their fans might think. Off-camera, they were dealing with the challenges of stardom, their issues, and the sometimes cruel world of cinema. Behind the scenes. Woe young actors, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, were ideal for each other on the set, but their life off-camera was a total mess. Of course, you can only imagine that there was more than what met the eye, and things were not always as they seemed. The consequences of the stardom were not very friendly to either of the Coreys. It was not all glamour for Corey Feldman, as he was among the brat pack that ushered early fame with it some demerit. But as he was climbing the ladder to success, he was fighting alcoholism and other vices, as well as the demands of being a Hollywood star. Each time, Feldman was always talking of how the industry had a negative influence on him, and how he became involved in partying and substance use. Corey Haim also had his own problems too as well. His stardom was instant, and that did not take long before the evils of Hollywood began to get the better of him. Haim had problems with alcohol and drugs, and he was not very shy when it came to discussing it with the press. It was a tough road, and even though he had to face a lot of success, he had to fight with the problems that were difficult to solve even for him. Feldman and Haim were close friends, and this friendship was very crucial in their lives and music. They were considered as two people who could barely afford to be apart from each other, and this was part of the appeal. Both were good friends and had a brotherly bond, and this was evident when dancing and in other related activities. But as with any friendship, there were always problems in their friendship too, as far as their friendship was concerned. It has been observed that due to the demands of their respective jobs and other spheres of life, there is a lot of stress on the friendship. They were not very close for a while, especially when Haim's issues with substance started to worsen. Sometimes it was not easy for Feldman, but he would attempt to be a good friend as much as he could. They had support with competition, and both knew the nature of the Hollywood industry. Both of them had much in common and were aware of each other's capacities and weaknesses, the problems they encountered, and that is why their friendship was intense and at the same time very vulnerable. But they were on speaking terms and continued to know the other's successes and failures in the chosen careers. Revelations leading up to Feldman's statement. Recently, Corey Feldman has been more involved with his past and the dark side of Hollywood. His revelations about the kind of abuse he and others faced in the industry has left many with their mouth wide opened. Feldman has narrated some of his experiences and has tried to analyze some of the issues that he believes have been in Hollywood for quite some time. Feldman has been especially graphic in his comments about Corey Haim. He has revealed that Haim underwent a lot of abuse and went through a lot of trauma while in the industry. According to Feldman, Haim's problems were made worse by the abuse and deceit that is rife in the business. Such revelations have given people a new perspective on Haim's life and his career and his fights and wars, a new dimension to how people view this actor. Feldman's decision to go public has not been without backlash, and he has been accused of making the wrong move to go public with his story. Some people have applauded him for having the guts to discuss such issues, while others have criticized him for the timing and the manner in which he has come out in the open to reveal such information. However, the words of Feldman have initiated the discussion about the problems which take place behind the scenes of Hollywood and the impact they have on the lives of many individuals. Corey Feldman's recent revelations. Corey Feldman has not been shy in talking about the evil side of Hollywood, and this is evident from his remarks about Corey Haim. Feldman has stated that Haim was sexually molested to the highest degree while he was active in Hollywood. He has stated that Haim's issues were not only of personal nature, but they were exacerbated by abuse and control by the Hollywood moguls. From Feldman's testimony, one can conclude that Haim was a victim of sexual predators who sexually molested him to the extent of emotionally and psychologically disturbing him. Some of the things that Feldman revealed are the specifics of the abuse and how it impacted Haim's life as well as his career in the movie industry. Such allegations depict a rather bad picture of how vulnerable young actors are to exploitation as soon as they are out in the public domain. Thus, it can be stated that Feldman's revelations have shifted the view of people in some way regarding Corey Haim. The persona of Haim, which was earlier depicted by charm and success of teen movies, has evolved to be complex. With the new information, the positive view of his achievements is replaced by a negative outlook over all that he has done. On the one hand, Haim's problems and the fact that he was abused as a child makes his character more appealing. It shows the side of his life that is not very appealing and the challenges that he faced in the background. At the same time, it tells the audience about the issue of Hollywood as an industry that allowed such a thing to happen. This duality can change the attitude to Haim, not only as the great actor, but as the man who had a lot of problems in life. The following are some of the responses that people have made concerning Feldman's statements. Some have been shocked by the revelations, and others angry at the abuse and exploitation that Haim had to endure. The supporters of victims' rights have appreciated Feldman for coming out in the open and exposing such important matters. However, not all the people have embraced this innovation as a positive change, as will be discussed below. Some have questioned Feldman of how he has come out to reveal the information, the timing of the same, and the details of the revelations. There are those who have argued that his statements are intended to do so, while others have argued that he intended them to create awareness about him. These reactions suggest that while Feldman's revelations have sparked discussions on abuse in Hollywood, they have also stirred controversy and discussions. It is something that makes me think how hard it is to talk about such things, and when they are connected to dear personalities like Haim. Feldman's statements have not only shifted the perception of Haim, but also started the conversation about the culture and behavior in Hollywood. Now let's see how this has affected the culture of the industry, the advocacy for Haim, and those around him. The remarks made by Feldman have exposed the rather dark side of the Hollywood culture. They have come out with instances of abuse and exploitation that people have heard but never come out to report them. The revelations therefore suggest that there are problems that need to be solved in the entertainment industry, and they are how young talents are managed and the lack of protection against abusive behavior. Such assertions have led to calls for disclosure and accountability in Hollywood. Some of the changes that have been proposed include changes to the industry to protect actors, especially the young ones, from being exploited and abused. Feldman's exposures are of a different type of transformation, which is the new wave of change that is aimed at changing the industry. It has also helped in the advocacy and awareness of abuse in the entertainment industry by Feldman. His revelations are in line with other high-profile similar incidents and stories that have emerged in the public, thus raising awareness of abuse and exploitation. Those who advocate for the victims have attempted to justify Feldman's actions, stating that they show a need for a change in the system and that the survivors should be given better support. They have also made a plea for improved protection of people in the industry and for improved penalties on the offenders. Haim's family and friends. The revelations have understandably impacted those who were close to Corey Haim. They have had to accept the new reality about him and his life. Some have backed Feldman's attempts at revealing the truth, while others have been more reserved due to the effect that such revelations have on Haims' legacy. It is a difficult case for Haim's family. They have to mourn Haim and love him at the same time, and also have to deal with the backlash and the confusion that Feldman's revelations have brought. It is a rather sad statement that there are always families and friends who are involved in the life of a celebrity and are also influenced by the narrative of the particular individual. Altogether, Corey Feldman's statements about Corey Haim not only changed people's perception of the latter, but also raised the issue of Hollywood's culture, advocacy, and the influence on those who were close to him. Such discussions are important as they are about significant topics and call for the required transformations in the field. It is not just about seeking the truth when Feldman decided to go public with the information about Haim's past. Even Feldman, who has been very vocal about his own abuse in Hollywood. It is therefore difficult to decipher whether his intentions are purely to get justice for his friend, to reveal the vices of the industry, or he is just being a good friend to his deceased friend. One can assume that one of the reasons is Feldman's experience of going through the dark side of Hollywood himself. After going through his problems with substance abuse and exploitation, it could have been imperative for Feldman to talk about other factors that he thinks caused Haim's pain. Perhaps by telling the audience about Haim's story, Feldman wants to draw attention to the issues that are still present in the entertainment business and make sure that nobody else has to go through what he did. Furthermore, it is also possible that the revelations made by Feldman are motivated with the intention of protecting Haim, whom he loved. The friendship they had was deep, and perhaps Feldman wanted to tell these bitter truths about his friend because it is the best way to remember Haim as a person who had his struggles. Perhaps for Feldman, this is an opportunity to put a voice to Haim's story and get some sort of justice for the injustices that were committed against him. The psychological and emotional consequences of revelations made by Feldman are rather deep. Just for Feldman himself, the process of sharing such personal and painful information about one of his friends should be very painful. It also means not only coming to terms with his own past, but also revealing the most painful aspects of Haim's life. This can be very stressing and tiring to the emotional health of the person and may lead to anxiety and stress. The same can be said for fans of Corey Haim. The effect is just as profound. Haim was appreciated for his parts in great movies of the 1980s, and the new information distorts the image of the actor in the eyes of the public. Teenagers who used to admire him as the bright and happy actor have to face the fact of his pain and the less pleasant sides of his life. This shift can make them feel sad, confused, and even betrayed as they try to come to terms with the fact that they once admired Haim, but now know some of the things he did. These discoveries are not only shocking to Feldman and Haims fans, but also to the general society as well. The debates regarding the abuse and exploitation of the actresses in Hollywood trigger uncomfortable questions about the culture of the industry and other young actors. It is something that should make people think about the fact that everyone has a private life, and celebrities are no exception. Haim's memory and legacy. It is now possible to see Corey Haims' legacy in a much more complex manner. What is left of Haim is an actor who had some problems, what was once a gifted actor and a young and handsome man. This means that the public image of the man and his personal problems are revealed, and this makes the understanding of his legacy more complex. On the one hand, one can state that Haim contributed a lot to the film industry and took part in shaping the teen movies of the 1980s. Some of the movies include The Lost Boys and License to Drive, and it is hard to overemphasize his impact on the pop culture. All these are achievements that are still associated with him to date, and fans and critics continue to enjoy them up to this date. But the new information about Haim and his relations with abuse and exploitation only makes the story of his life even more tragic. This part of his life gives the audience a glimpse of the dark side of Hollywood and brings to the memory of the viewers the risks that actors take. It is a rather sad note to his legacy that makes people remember that change has to take place at the structural level. Feldman's revelations have also triggered a discourse on how death is celebrated or mourned in America, or how people pay their last respect. It calls for a consideration of a person in the totality of his or her being, including the issues and the suffering. While this may be rather uncomfortable, it also presents an opportunity to think and therefore gain a clearer perspective on events. The discussions that are currently being had regarding Haim are very much in line with the discussions that are being had about fame and biography in general. Therefore, the reinterpretation of Haim's story makes us question the processes of idolization and memorialization of celebrities. It is a chance to remember not only their achievements but also failures and difficulties they faced on the way, which can contribute to the more tolerant attitude towards people and their lives. As Corey Feldman shares his deeply unsettling revelations about Corey Haim, the story underscores the complexities and hidden truths of their lives. For more exclusive content, click on the video popping up on your screen, like, and subscribe.